Today on Stonehaven Shorts, we are going to do something that I have never done before. A, play with concrete, and B, make I'm going to call it a water catcher. It may not be quite a bird bath because I don't think it'll be deep enough, but it's called leaf casting. So here's the ingredients that you're going to need. Sand, which is under there, possibly some chicken wire or something that's going to stabilize the concrete, depending on how big your leaf is. Saran wrap, or maybe even a clear garbage bag, some spray pan, and water, and some concrete. So, I'm Lorianne, this is Stonehaven Shorts. Let's see what kind of mess we can make today. Okay, I brought us in a little closer here, and I have just used my leaf as sort of a template on how big I want my sand to go around. And I've cupped it, mounded it, so that my leaf is well supported when I add my concrete. I want to make mine to hold water. If you're just doing a stepping stone, then going flat is fine. I think my leaf is a little too big to be a stepping stone, so we'll find out. The next step that you want to do, Sunday, is put your plastic down. Plastic is going to act as a barrier between the leaf and the sand. Okay. And then we're going to add our leaf. And what we're looking for now is just make sure that the sand is extended past the leaf, but yet the sand is well supporting your leaf. And I think that is pretty good. There is some pleating here. It's a very fresh leaf. I just cut it. If you have big holes, you might want to add some tape to it. I do have a hole here, which isn't the best, but I feel like I can work around that. And if not, well, it's one character line. And I might have a few over here. But for the most part, my leaf is pretty good. Now, because it is so big, I am choosing to add some structure to it. So I've cut some chicken wire about the same size as my leaf. But what I'm going to do is add concrete first, then my chicken wire, and then add another layer of concrete. Let's mix the concrete and get this baby started. Okay, I'm using the Quick Mix concrete pre-mixed. This is what it's looking like with water thus far. It's not holding together with my hands when it's not bad. It's not bad. I don't want it too wet. It's hard to tell. If you add too much water, it will set up. And I have quite a bit of water. I still got to mix around in here. This is just for my first layer. And then I'll add my chicken wire, and then I'll add another layer. I was using a little garden shovel, but clearly you want some gloves. Maybe you even want longer gloves, but these are latex gloves work well. Still a little crumbly. If I was building a sand castle, it wouldn't hold. So let's add a bit more water. There. I guess that's a good way to compare it to is, can you build a sand castle out of it? Would it hold up at the beach? Okay, that's looking pretty good, and it'll probably firm up a little more as I'm working with this. Okay, we don't want it to drip off the leaf, but I think no more water for sure. So, let me move this out of the way. Let me see if I can move the camera a little bit to this side. There. That's good. So we are going to start adding it to the leaf. I am going to choose to start in the middle and then push it out a little bit, remaining just like you would if you've ever made a pizza, and you have to make sure it's the same thickness throughout. The most delicate part will be the very ends of your leaf. And here is a couple of ways to do it. You can spread it around and use your hand as the barrier as it gets close to the end. Or the other thing I've seen is people just make little balls and spread it around. I'm going to use my hand as a barrier because I fear that the balls may actually lose some of the texture of what the leaf looks like. So I want to make sure I maintain the integrity of the look of my leaf. And remember when I said that it was pleating? I'm kind of smoothing that out as I'm moving it along. And then remember, I have a second layer to go here because this is such a large leaf. Maybe you can see better here. So putting my hand as the barrier, bringing it down. You do not want to have the concrete go over the leaf. I would say it probably would be best to be a little short of the leaf, if anything, because if it goes over the leaf, then you're not getting any kind of a veiny texture at all. It's just going to be a bald spot. So let's make sure that's beautiful. I think if you did use a finer concrete, it definitely would change the feel and the look. But for my first one, and because I couldn't find that fancy concrete, I think it's a patch mix or something. I couldn't find it where I live, so I'll try this. And I have seen it done with literally just dirt underneath too. You don't even need sand. If you don't have sand, you could use your mold from just dirt. I've seen that as well. Making sure it's my same consistency as far as thickness. Coming as close to the edges, but not over the edge. And it sure is. See, I gotta be careful here that I don't go over. That's where that plastic really helps for sure. And not to worry if it's not entirely perfect, because at the end, you can always use a barbecue brush to clean it up on the edges. You can use a Dremel. That sort of thing. Okay, I'm running a little short on this side here, so I just want to make sure I got enough. Get in this here. So that was quite a bit of concrete that it used, which is fine. The biggest thing is making sure that it's all level throughout. And then I'm going to put my chicken wire down. If you could use cattle, page wire. There's a few different things you could use to add structure. So because this isn't my final casting, I'm a little less concerned about the thickness because I'm going to put more on it in just a little bit. Okay, now I've somewhat trimmed my chicken wire to match it, and be careful when you are so that you don't poke holes in your leaf when you're trying to get the right size of the chicken wire, because I ended up doing that too. So we're just trying to get this in. We don't want the wire to show through the concrete. So we just want to make sure it's nice and molded. The weight of our next layer will hide the wire. So not to be concerned, we just want to make sure it's not going over any of the leaf. All right, now I'm going to mix up my next set and pour that over top. And in true form, I forgot to put the Pam on it. So don't forget that step. We will see what it looks like. In 3 days, it might be a little harder to get off, but I have seen where people have used air compressor to come off, and it'll come off, not to worry, we'll get it. But it would be so much easier if I could spray it with Pam. Okay, I have mixed up my next batch here. My wire is on. This one is a little soupier, but I'm going to be modeling it quite a bit more, and it's got to get through the wire. Now, also make sure that you don't want this to dry too quickly. You want it to be setting for about 72 hours. 3 days grace is what I would say. So make sure that wherever your workspace is not in direct sunlight. I'm choosing to do it on quite a humid day actually here. Okay. It has that structural integrity with those wires. When I pull it back, it's okay if I see a little bit of wire on the back end because it's going to be at the bottom, but ultimately you want it nice and covered because that's what's giving it its structure. Now anywhere, you can see here, any place that I feel I need to come a little closer to the edge, that's what I'm going to do now. So this whole big leaf, just so you know, for concrete wise, took an entire bag of that quick, well, no, sorry, 3/4 of a bag of that Quikrete concrete. So just so you can judge it accordingly. I did have the wire come right down to my stem here because I think that's going to be the most delicate area and the one that people will be holding on if they're moving it. If you are making a fountain, which I have seen some people do, then you can use this point to make a little rectangle here, or maybe a circle, stick a hose in it so that you've got that template there, and it comes with its own little stand. I am just using it as a water catcher, and I'm not even saying a bird bath because I don't even know if it's going to turn out that great. So hopefully it catches water. It would be really cool if you had it by a rain barrel and you sort of had it under the drip spout of the rain barrel so it would catch any water as you're filling your watering can. That would be kind of cool. Also, think about painting it. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint mine. I think that would be a lovely addition, but not sure if I'm going to go get that far. I would also say to bring it in the winter time. It's not something that you want to leave out over the winter if you live in that part of the country. When I get it all to that certain edges and consistency, then I'm going to just dip my hands in the water and start smoothing things out and making sure that I've cleaned up my edges. I feel like I have a bit of a flat spot in here, but That's from the sand, and there's not much I can do with that. I'll try and build it up, making sure all my wire is covered as best as I possibly can. I think having the thicker concrete helps with covering the wire, that's for sure. I know you can't really see this end piece here, so maybe I'll take just a view around it just as I'm done while we're watching it dry, and you can see where I've come to on the edges. Tuck some of that wire down there, I can still feel it. I had it kind of bent up because I didn't want it to dig into my leaf before I was ready. And I think I bent it up a little bit too far. Try and smooth that out. That is looking pretty darn good. And yeah, so 3/4 of a bag, and this is a very large leaf, like very large leaf. I'd say 2 feet, 2.5 feet. Get in there, little wire. And now, making sure nice open spot. Okay, I think that is pretty darn good. It's so moist I don't even need to dip my hands in. I'm just gonna go around the edges now, make sure it's got as smooth as I can possibly get without going over, and I will clean up the edges because I know I'm going over on a few areas. And it's okay, pulling it back. It's not going underneath. Ooh, look at, see this little spot here. There's a little love. Feels pretty smooth, feels like a good consistency. I do have a wee bit of wire sticking out. Try and smooth down. And again, not the end of the world because I am going to, it's going to be the underside. So if you decide that you want to paint it, there's lots of things that you can do. You can just keep in mind if you're using it to serve crackers and cheese or whatever, I mean, don't get it wet. Put a napkin on it or something like that. You're not going to serve any pickles or anything on it. You could use it as a soap dish in your bathroom. There's lots of things you could do. Maybe it's a plant that you absolutely loved, it was dying, or you're moving and you can't take it with you and you do want to keep it as sort of a memento. This would be a great thing to do for that. Okay, I think I'm ready to let this dry for 3 days, and then I'll meet you back here. We'll see what it looks like. Not that it's terribly hard to believe, but this is my very first time managing concrete, period. Those that are wiser than I, let's call him Ms. Gregory, says that if you missed the concrete, then this is about 24 hours afterwards. If you missed the concrete a little bit, he said drawing in the moisture actually helps to strengthen it. So I'm just giving it a quick little mist. He didn't really say how much, so I'm just, misting away. I think that's it, because you can kind of start to see it change color and pull it in. So I'm gonna leave that now for the next couple of days, and we'll see where we're at, see if it made it any stronger. I think I've already told you I forgot to put the PAM on. So hopefully that leaf pulls out, but if it doesn't, I got some strategies anyways. Okay, let's see you in a couple days. Ladies and gentlemen, children and clowns of all ages. Oh, hold on, looks like we're a little crooked here. We are about to unveil, and sorry, I've been out in the wind all day. so I don't look my best. But we are about to unveil what this masterpiece might look like. So let's lift it up. It is rather heavy. And I don't want to wreck the sides because I think I've done a pretty good job. Now, if I had sprayed the back of the leaf with Pam, it would have been a lot easier to take off. But it's not too bad from what I can see. Yeah, it's doing not terrible, but I tell ya, it has really, oh, I'm gonna have to bring you closer because you can see the veins in this. It looks quite nice. And because I didn't spray it, I may have to just take a little while to peel off the leaf. And then in the deep cracks, you know those little picks that you get from your Nutcracker set? That works, or a dental pick, but even more so, a pressure washer, or not, sorry, air compressor will blow it off, especially if it's drier. So you know what? Let me just get a few more here and then I will bring you closer. I realized after when it was all setting, I was supposed to kind of tap it a bit to make sure that the air bubbles were out. But you know what? It didn't do too bad. It still looks pretty darn good. I am rather impressed, shocked actually, at how this looks. And if you're smarter than me and you put that Pam on, then you don't have to, you know, deal with the bits and bobs that I have to deal with. So let me get this done and I'll bring you a little closer.